All right, good morning.
Good morning, Lee.
Today we are the passing of the dream in chapter 18, the passing of the dream, the two worlds, and we made it up through paragraph number 4.
The circle of fear lies just below the level the body sees, which means it can't see it, and seems to be the whole foundation on which the egoic world of perception is based. I see the fact that I'm reading this a second time, this is the first time I saw it, the word foundation like an architect. It's the basis for this thing. There may be more crap below that, but it doesn't matter. Just like in architecture. As long as the foundation is sitting on some kind of ground and not water, um, it's the foundation of that building. So the circle of fear lies just below the level that the body sees and seems to be the whole foundation on which the egoic world of perception is based. It's a good way of looking at it for me. Here are all the illusions, all the twisted thoughts, all the insane attacks, the fury, the vengeance, and betrayal that were made to keep the guilt in place so that the world of illusion, perception, and form could rise from the truth and keep the real world of heaven hidden. The egoic thought system's shadow of guilt rises to the surface enough to hold its most external manifestations in darkness and to bring despair and loneliness to it and keep the ego's external manifestations joyless.
Boom, boom, boom,
Yet
boom.
the light of truth's intensity is veiled by guilt's heavy coverings and kept apart from what was made to keep the truth hidden.
Man, this is
The
depressing.
body, well, it's not only depressing, but actually, I really want to go back up. I
So
want
accurate. The foundation part?
I want to, I want to follow the architectural metaphor up a little bit past that. So there's a bunch of garbage, different kinds of soil, rocks, and things. But once you
Yeah.
lay the
We don't have to worry about
foundation,
any of that
it's
because we put concrete on top of it.
right. So here are all the illusions under the concrete, all the twisted thoughts, all the insane attacks, the fury, the vengeance, the betrayals that were made to keep the guilt in place. Okay, so the crap below,
No, I don't think they're
before
trying to say that we're
concrete.
building our foundation on shifting sands of fear. I think the foundation
Okay,
is we've built it on solid rock. Everything that the foundation is on. Oh, maybe I'm sorry. Now I'm seeing it the way you're seeing it actually. Okay, yes. Sometimes these become a little
keep
bit
it.
more clear after we finish reading them too.
Yeah, that's why we're reading it a second time.
Okay,
Right,
all right.
and that's. I remember reading this yesterday,
Okay.
and I didn't
It's a
really
shifting
get this.
foundation on because it's built on the egoic world of perception, and thank God he put those in bold in there because that would have made it even more confusing. So, okay.
Could rise from the truth and keep the real world of it. All right, now that's where something gets upside down here. All that stuff was under the concrete, and we built a building on top of this concrete now, and that is what I think he said. It's the world of illusion. This is my building, and I like it, and it's gonna stay here, and I'm gonna do all my shit
Okay, okay.
so
What
that
do
the
you
world.
focus in on what you're trying to get across here?
I'm trying to see if the metaphor works. That I built a house
Okay. Fast forward through what
on
you're
a
saying though
concrete
because
foundation.
it's I'm
What does the house look like? What is the house good or not? Because it says so that the world of illusion, perception, and form. Now I don't get this. Could rise from the truth and
I
keep the
have
real world of heaven hidden. I don't get that.
okay. Here's our ticket out. You ready? I'm going to read the real book.
Yeah.
You read along with Tom's version so that it's a little clearer.
All right.
And I've got to turn on a light. go. Okay. Two Guys Interpret a For Dummies book.
Yeah. By the way, I have to tell you that when I have my ears on
Okay,
and
not now.
the Bluetooth is working
Dad,
from the
not
phone.
now. Not now.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay.
The circle of fear lies just below the level of the body, sees and seems to be the whole foundation on which the world is based. Here are all the illusions, all the twisted thoughts, all the insane attacks, the fury, the vengeance, the betrayal. These are all shifting sands, in other words, that were made to keep guilt in place so that the world could rise from it and keep it hidden. Its shadow rises to the surface, enough to hold its most eternal external manifestations in darkness, and to bring despair and loneliness to it and keep it joyless. I have to keep this. Yet its intensity, this is sentence number 4 now,
Mm.
yet its intensity is veiled by its heavy coverings and kept apart from what was made to keep it hidden. The body cannot see this, for the body arose from this for its protection, which depends on keeping it not seen. The body's eyes will never look on it, yet they will see what it dictates. The thought system
Wow.
of the ego is based on the kissing cousins of sin, guilt, and fear. It is these cousins that keep the veil of illusion over the truth that God's Son is sinless and guiltless. Without the belief in sin, there is nothing for the sonship to fear from his Creator. The physical world of form is an egoic attempt to hide the truth of the insanity of the ego's thought system. A Course in Miracles spends a great deal of time comparing the thought system of the ego and the Holy Spirit. Boy, does it. The whole book is about that. This is necessary because we've identified ourselves so deeply as a body that most people would automatically dismiss as insanity the concept that we are unlimited spirit. And that's where the assumptions from the very beginning of the book come. So if all this doesn't make sense, then we'll have to go back to the start and read it from the beginning. The idea that we are not the body appears on the surface to be a truly mad idea. Yet it's the opposite. One of the goals of ACIM is to reawaken the decision maker so that we can move out of victim consciousness and decide to choose again. As long as we fail to realize that we are the dreamer, we will not question the logic of the egoic thought system. The person who's insane doesn't know they're insane. They're incapable of healing themselves because they don't know what they don't know. Only the Holy Spirit, who's outside the dream, can bring the split-minded back to whole-mindedness. The Holy Spirit knows that you don't know that you are the dreamer of this insane dream. It also knows how to gently reawaken us, God's sleeping sons and daughters, to his spiritual magnificence. All we need to do is have a little willingness to ask for the Holy Spirit's help.
So I'm going to try and summarize that in a couple of statements here. It seems like the real key to all of this, including the way Tom describes it, is that there's a whole lot of people that have been convinced that we are sinners. And when you're a sinner because of what Adam and Eve did, guess what? We are in victim consciousness. It's like, that's a hell of victimizing. Like, there's no way out of that.
Exactly.
But the only
It's
thing that you
tantamount
could,
to a cop-out because there's no way out of
it's
that. And
awful.
that's been the cop-out for 2,000 years
And
or
I
longer
don't
or
know
whatever.
how. I almost would like to go back. I'm not going to take the time. At some point, I guess I will. To really look at what Jesus said. He didn't focus all on we're all sinners. That came later
Yeah, not at all.
by the people who sold his gospel
Yep.
and thought it would be a palliative for us, that it would make it easier for us to understand that that's how we got into trouble in the first place, but here's the way out. Jesus only talked about the way out and about heaven. I say only. I'm certainly not a biblical scholar, so I couldn't say that
It's all
authoritatively.
right. Let's get back to
But
our task.
but it seems like Christianity today and Islamic Quran is a lot about keeping control of sinners. It's why men lord it over on women and all of that insanity that comes up. And
Absolutely.
that's
All the way up through the
the
Me
end of
Too
my
movement,
speech.
and thank God we're finally waking up from this kind of BS.
Yeah, good point.
Time to
The
hold
women,
everybody accountable at the same level, and we're all got to be good people.
okay, I like it. We're in the right direction. Did you read this paragraph 5?
Nope, this one's for you, bub.
Okay. The body will remain guilt's messenger and will act as the egoic mind directs as long as you believe that guilt is real. For the reality of guilt is the illusion that seems to make guilt heavy and opaque, impenetrable, and a real foundation for the ego's thought system. Guilt's thinness and transparency are not apparent until you see the light behind guilt. I love this. I said it yesterday when we were reading. And then you see guilt as a fragile veil before the light. Go for it.
God's Son is guiltless. All of us are guiltless. Once this truth of guiltlessness is uncovered, the kissing cousins of sin, guilt, and fear will disappear. For darkness disappears when brought to the truth. This truth is learned through the Holy Spirit's thought system.
This heavy seeming barrier of egoic guilt, this artificial floor that looks like rock, is like a bank of low, dark clouds that seem to be a solid wall before the sun. Its impenetrable appearance is wholly an illusion. The barrier gives way softly to the mountain tops that rise above it and has no power at all to hold back anyone willing to climb above the barrier and see the sun. The ego's barrier to love is not strong enough to stop a button's fall, nor hold a feather. Nothing can rest upon the ego's barrier to truth, for guilt is but an illusion of a foundation. Try but to touch the ego's barrier, and it disappears. Attempt to grasp the ego's barrier to love, and your hands hold nothing.
Dreams always appear to be real. Once awake, the dream quickly fades before the reality of truth.
Yet in this cloud bank, it is easy to see a whole egoic world rising. A solid mountain range, a lake, a city, all rise in your egoic imagination. And from the clouds, the messengers of your perception return to you, assuring you that the illusion is really there. Figures stand out and move about, actions seem real, and forms appear and shift from loveliness to the grotesque. And back and forth they go, as long as you would play the egoic game of children's make-believe. Yet, however long you play the game of children's make-believe, and regardless of how much imagination you bring to the game, you do not confuse it with the world below, nor seek to make the game of children's make-believe real.
When we play a
Go
game,
for
we
it.
need only stop playing the game to remember that it's only a game. In the dream of separation, we got so involved with the game itself we forgot to laugh. We got out of the bleacher and became active participants in the game of what am I? And we identified ourselves pretending that we could be something other than as God created us. We forgot to laugh. This identification of our essence as being the body is what made the dream appear to be real and thus fearful. The dreamer forgot that he was the author of the dream. And now I'm going to go play with my 9-year-old little girl. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.